Hello, good evening, everyone. I believe we are all doing well. It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while. Since our previous um, meeting, and I believe had or we learned a lot during our previous meeting. You're welcome once again to Personal Finance Conference or Personal Finance Series. The purpose of this series is to enlighten, then help individuals to make informed decisions on finances. Thank be to God, today we are going to have a little talk on the lessons of the parable. Okay, lessons of the parable of the talent. You know, the power of the talent has a lot to share, and I am glad to come your way with some lessons you need to have, you need to know from the parable of the talent. So without wasting much time, I'll move forward with what we need to know about the talents, parable of the talents, and then the lessons we can learn from the parable of the talents to help us make informed decisions in our day-to-day finances. Parable of the talents, we all know. The parable of the talents, we all know, is a wonderful one of the wonderful parables in the Bible that was given by Jesus Christ, and one of Jesus' most significant parables regarding work is set in the context of finance and investment. So the context of the parable of the talents was taken from Matthew chapter 25, 14 to 30. And then it talks about a rich man who delegates the management of his wealth to his servants. He gives 5 talents, a unit of money. You know, talent, people call talent a unit of money. People also see it to be talent as in skills, you know, because of how the Bible put it, and some verses or some versions also put it. But the parable of the talents in details talks about money, you know. So when you look at today's value of a talent, you are looking at something like $60,000. That is what a talent would worth today. So this man gives 5 talents to the first servant, 2 talents to the second, and 1 talent to the third servant. Two of the servants earned 100% returns by trading with the funds. Isn't that wonderful? The parable explains how two of the servants were able to turn around the talents that was given to them and generate 100% returns of what they received from the master. But the third servant hides the money in the ground and then earns nothing. The rich man returns from the journey and then now asks for accountability. And then we all know how the Bible put it, how the rich man bombarded or put it to the third servant who wasn't able to multiply his money. And I think there is a lot in this that will help us make decisions in our lives. Let's look at the whole text again. Matthew chapter 25, verse 14 to 30. Again, it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted his wealth to them. To one, he gave 5 bags of gold, to another 2 bags, and another 1 bag, each according to their ability. Then he went on his journey. The man who had received 5 bags of gold went at once and put his money to work and gained 5 bags more. So also the one who received 2 bags gained 2 bags more. But the man who had received 1 bag went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. After a long run, the master of those servants returned and settled accounts with them. The man who had received 5 bags of gold brought the other 5, or gained more additional 5 to the ones that the master has given him. And this is what the master said. He said, the man said, you entrusted me with 5 bags of gold, and see, I have gained 5 more. His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things, and I'll put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. This was what the master replied to the first servant. Happily, because the first servant was able to multiply the money the master gave him. Now the man with 2 bags of gold also came. And then the master said, and then he said to the master, you entrusted me with 2 bags of gold. See, I have gained 2 more. And the master gave him the same reply to the first one as he said, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with few things, and I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. Then the man who had received 1 bag of gold came. Listen to this place very well. Master, I said, I knew that you were a hard man, harvesting where you have not sown, and gathering where you have not scattered. So I was afraid and went out and hid your gold in the ground. See, here is what belongs to you. You know, when I first read this text or this verse, I thought the third servant has done his best. Because look, he was having 1 talent. He couldn't have taken any risks with the talent, because assuming you take risks with the talent and then you lose it, what were you going to tell your master? So he in his senses thinks he has done well by hiding the money in the ground and bringing it back to the master. But listen to the master's reply. You wicked, lazy servant. So you knew that I harvest where I have not sown and gather where I have not scattered seed. Well then, you should have put my money on deposit with the bankers, so that when I return, I would receive it back with interest, at least. So take the bag of gold from him. The master took the bag of gold from him and gave it to the one who had 10 bags. This is a very powerful and wonderful parable that talks more about money than we think it does talent or skill. So we see how the master reacted to what the third person did with the money, right? What do we think? You can put your comments on the comment section. Let's know what you are thinking. Let me hear what you're thinking. But it's very surprising that what the third person did was rather bad in the sight of the master. When I read the text for the first time in my life, when I read this text, I thought the third person was very wise because at least he was hiding from losing his capital. So he hid the money. And I was thinking the two who doubled their money, maybe they had the chance to double their money, or they had because they had the chance to take the risks because there were more talents given to them, more than one. So at least if they took risks with the first one doesn't go well, they have four more or one more or all that. But there are a lot of things that we can deduce from this parable, and that is the purpose of this webinar. The purpose of this webinar is for us to learn the lessons, the financial lessons that we can adopt and use in our daily lives from this parable. So let's go ahead and look at the lessons. Lesson 1. I term this as hard work. And I mostly say that hard work it has no substitute. Success is a product of hard work. If you look at the picture very well, you can realize that, or you find out that there are 5 people pulling an object forward, okay? And then all these 5 people pulling the object forward, one person decides to, or one person has a different object. I hope you can see that. The person has a different object altogether. I ask myself, how come the person is having a round shaped object, the others are having or a square shaped object? And this story comes to mind where I think both of them or all of them were having a square shaped object. And then one person, before they started pushing it or before the journey started, one person decided to shape the box or shape the box shape item for it to make it easier for him to push it or make his work easier. And I think that's a very laudable lesson you can learn even out of this picture. Okay, so success is a product of hard work. Sometimes we talk about success or we talk about hard work, and then we say hard work, we replace hard work now with smart work. But I believe nothing can replace hard work. Hard work is hard work. Most people understand that they need to work hard and put in effort required to achieve high degree of success. Without hard work, you can't achieve anything. People who have achieved extraordinary results have done so by outworking everyone around them, by doing things different, by thinking different, by having different mindsets. So when you look at the parable of the talents very carefully, you realize that the 2 servants who were able to double their talents, immediately the master left them, they started working. In verse 16 and then verse 17, we realize that the 2 servants got to work. They started working after the master left. And one interesting thing is that the master didn't tell them what to use the talent for. The master didn't tell them to double the talent. The Bible said the master gave them the talent and then left for a journey. But verse 16 said, and I read, verse 16, it says that the man who had received 5 bags of gold went at once and put his money to work and gained 5 more bags. At once, immediately, the man put his money at work and then gained 5 more bags. This is interesting, right? Yeah, it means that the two people had different mindset from the third servant. And then the way the third servant took things or understood things was different from how the first two understood their thing. And then the first two did what they did because they believed in hard work. The first lesson I want us to take from this parable is hard work. There is no substitute for hard work. You can't substitute anything for hard work. Hard work is hard work. And success is always a product. You can't achieve success without hard work. You can't achieve anything extraordinary, anything abnormal without hard work. You can't work the same way everyone is working and achieve something extraordinary. So hard work has no substitute. I believe the first two servants in the parable worked hard. The Bible stated so in verse 16 and 17, that they worked hard, very, very hard. And they were able to achieve the expectations of their master. So the first lesson I'm putting across is that as young as we are, I know young people are watching this, as young as we are, let's put hard work first. Hard work first in everything that we do. Let's have the understanding that hard work is the only thing that can gain us success, that can bring us success. Hard work. The second lesson I want us to look at from the parable is taking calculated risk. Taking calculated risk. When we talk about taking risks, people have different mindsets of what taking risks can be or the meaning of taking risks. Taking risks doesn't mean that you should take a risk that you know 100% what the outcome would be. Example, if the lady in the picture knows perfectly that there is nothing to step on or the probability of dying after lifting or putting that leg that she has raised up, after putting it down, probability that she will not land on anything and then fall down and die. If the probability is more than 50, then she takes that step, then she is taking an abnormal risk. That is why I put this lesson very carefully. Take calculated risk. Make sure the risk you are taking has been calculated, and then at least you have fair idea of what would happen to you after taking this risk. You have fair idea of the results that you have after taking this risk. So when you look at the parable very carefully, you realize that the first two servants took risk. The first servant who had 5 talents went to work with the 5 talents. The Bible said he went to work with the 5 talents that he had, assuming he lost all the 5 talents. It was a calculated risk. He knew, in fact, there was an option that he could have lost the 5 talents. There was an option, especially for the one who had 2 talents. There was an option that he could have lost the 5 talents, the 2 talents. But he went on and took risks and was able to multiply the talent he had or the monies he had. So taking risks is a key part of life. Taking risks is a key part of your finances. If you want to go ahead without taking risks in many things you do, you might end up not achieving your target because no higher target can be achieved without taking risks. Every high target comes with risks. The 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 third servant didn't take risks. That is why the master was angry at him and then took the talent or the money from him. So my take on this is that as stewards or as people who want to better our financial lives, we need to understand that when it comes to money, in order for you to gain more than you have to take risks. Risks must be involved. You have to do something that is riskier, something that can even have 50-50 risk allocation. Okay, you must be ready to take risks. The first servant with the 5 talents and the second servant with the 2 talents took risks. I was thinking Jesus Christ could have mentioned of a fourth servant who maybe had 3 talents and then took risks, also worked with the talent, and then was not able to make any profit or was not able to multiply his or her talent, and then maybe made loss and then lost all the 3 talents. I was thinking Jesus Christ would have brought a situation like that. But I know that if he brought a situation like that, he would have also make sure that the master will appreciate the effort of the third or the fourth servant who took risks and then lost everything. Because taking risks is very important. The reason why the master was angry at the third servant was because the third servant didn't take any risks. In fact, the master called him wicked and lazy slave. Wicked and lazy slave. Lazy means the servant was lazy, didn't take any risk. He didn't want to work hard with the talent and the money he had. What is the lesson here? Anything you have, when it comes to finances, if you want to make more, if you want to achieve more, you have to take calculated risks. You have to be very, very careful with the kind of risks you take. You have to be very, very optimistic. You have to calculate. You have to know the results of the risks you are taking. Compare, make sure you know the results, and then make sure that these risks you are taking can either help you or can multiply whatever you are doing. Because there is always going to be an option for you to make loss or for you to lose whatever you are taking the risk of. That is why it is very, very important for us to take calculated risks. Calculated risks. So the steward didn't even put the talent in the bank. You remember that the master said that at least he could have put the talent in the bank to earn interest. So that when the master comes back, he gives the talent and the interest, and even the talent and the interest to the master. So I think we can assume that the steward with 1 talent did have some abilities. Yeah. The steward with 1 talent had some. That is why the master gave him or entrusted him with a talent. Earlier on, the master said that he is giving this talent based on their strength, based on their ability. It means that the master knew that the third servant had the ability to do what? To multiply the money or to multiply the talent. Other than that, the master wouldn't have given it to him. Let me shock you. Do you know that every money you are having, every money, all those watching this video, every money you are having in your pockets right now, every money you're having in your account right now, every asset, anything that you can turn into money right now, do you know that you can double it? Have you thought of that? Do you know that I can double the value of this spectacle I am wearing? I can double the value of this suit. I can double the value of this 100 cedi I'm having in my pocket as it stands. Do you know? In our situation, no one is giving us money, right? We earn our own money, or you have been given money to do something, and you are thinking you need to, get that thing done. But do you know that you can multiply that money? The lesson here is that if you take calculated risks, you will be able to multiply your money. You will be able to multiply anything that is in your hand if you take calculated risks. Before we move to the third lesson of the day, let me push in this. I think the third lesson talks about mindset. And then I want us to talk a little bit about mindset, because we can talk and talk and talk. And if we don't have a mindset shift, we are going to just be wasting time. Because everything that happened in the parable was about the mindset. You remember the third servant said that he thought he was afraid because he knew that the master didn't harvest where he sowed. So it was about the mindset. The other people did not have the same mindset. They had different mindset. So it was about the mindset. For some time now, whenever I see things twice. I see things in two ways. I look at the profit side and the loss side. I look at the advantage side and the disadvantage side. Everything has its advantage side and its disadvantage side. Okay. How do you see things? What do you see in situations? The third lesson is telling us that you have to get a profit mindset. You have to develop a multiplication mindset. A mindset that when you are given 20 cedis to spend, you can put 10 cedi aside and then multiply it. You can multiply it by putting that 10 cedis to work or investing it. There are many ways that you can multiply your money. There are a lot of ways that you can multiply your money. Yeah. The two servants had multiplication mindset. And I believe that the money they got out of their talents they had was more than the double. Because the Bible said that the master traveled and for a long time. So it means that probably they made more, but they gave the master double what they from what they were. This is a great lesson to teach us that first of all, you have to know that the first thing you have to know, or the first mindset you have to have about money, is that we are stewards of every money we have. We are stewards of every money we have. Stewards means we are not the owner of our own money. If you have this kind of mindset, the way you spend money changes and the way you handle money changes. If you have the mindset that you are a steward and not the owner of your money or of the money that comes into your hand, your income, money from your parents, money from people, gifts, and all that. If you have the mindset that all those things are, you are just a steward, you are just a manager of everything that comes to you, you will be able to manage it well. I think one mindset that we have that is causing our finances is that we think that we own everything in our lives. What really shows that you don't own everything is that when you are living with nothing. And when you came with nothing. So everything you are working with here right now shows that you are here to manage it. So I want us to develop this mindset. Have a mindset, have a stewardship mindset. Okay, let me put it that way. Have a stewardship mindset. A mindset that everything you are having now is not yours, but you are there to manage it. So assuming I have 1,000 in my account, sitting in my account currently, I know that this 1,000 is not mine, even though it is my salary, even though I earn it myself. Because of this kind of mindset, I know that this 1,000 is not mine. I am just managing it. So how do I manage it to make my master happy? So in the context of the Bible, we can replace the master there by God to make God happy. How do I spend to make God happy? How do I spend 1,000 to make God happy? How do I multiply the money I am having sitting in my account? If you have this kind of mindset, you won't spend anyhow, and you will learn how to even multiply the one you have. Because people love to earn money, people love to get money, but not everyone knows how to spend it to make more. If you have a profit mindset or mentality as a person, it will help you grow and multiply your money all the time. So in the verse 6 and verse 7, we see the mindset of the two servants who multiply their money by going to work, by working hard. So I will entreat and I will advise that let us all develop a stewardship mindset. First of all, let us know that the monies that we have are not ours. It is for us to manage. It is for us to keep. And then the best way of managing money is to multiply it. This parable tells us so. Because when the master was leaving, the master didn't leave them or didn't tell them to multiply the money. The master kept the money with them. That's what the Bible says. But when the master came back and the third one hasn't multiplied, the master was angry. It means that the master expected them to know that money entrusted in your hands is meant to be multiplied. So you need to multiply money for things that comes into your hands. If you have this mindset, it will help you manage your finances very well. Because you know that the salary that is coming into your account, your salary account, is not meant for you to squander. It's not meant for you to spend alone. It's meant for you to multiply. It's meant for you to put it into ventures that will multiply that income. If you have this mindset, we will do well in our finances. So first, develop a mindset, a stewardship mindset, and then second, develop a multiplication mindset or a profit mindset. Profit mindset is where you make profit of everything, not just money, everything around you. You make sure you make profit out of your relationship. You make profit out of everything your hand touches. You make profit out of everything you see. You make profit out of everything, every situation. You can be hit of something bad, like the book of Job talks about Job. Job was hit of something bad. Something evil happened to Job. He lost his friends. He lost even his wife. He lost everything. But Job looked at this with the lenses of multiplication. Job had a profit mindset. Job had a multiplication mindset. That is why at the end of the story, God multiplied everything. The Bible said that God multiplied his sheep. God multiplied his cows. God multiplied his goods. God multiplied his wealth. In fact, God multiplied the beauty of their children, of his children. And God gave him a wonderful wife. So you can see, the man had multiplication mindset. I want to encourage all of us to develop. How do you develop a multiplication mindset? How do you develop a profit mindset? This is how you do it. See the profit of everything you have. See the multiplication of everything you have. If you have a phone today, ask yourself, this phone is worth 2005. This phone is worth 2005. What can I do with this phone for it to earn me more than 1,000 cedis a month? You know it's possible. I can work with this phone for it to earn me more than 1,000. Whilst people are spending 1,000 cedis on this phone monthly, I am earning 1,000 cedis from what I am doing with this phone. What am I doing? It means I have developed a multiplication mindset and I am multiplying the value of this phone. The two servants had multiplication mindset, so they were able to multiply the talent the master gave them. Multiplication mindset. Let's move on to the next slide. We're talking about borrowing money. Borrowing money. You know, the verse that talks about the third servant who came to the master and said, "Oh, master, I knew that you sow where you don't, you harvest where you don't sow. You were a hard person. So I buried your money. I hid your money in the ground. And then this is what you gave me. See, this is what I have. This talent or this parable tells us that borrowing money or hiding money is a bad habit. It's a bad money habit. And then literally, you might not be borrowing or hiding money in the floor like digging and then put money inside the ground. No, literally, you might be burying money by investing in assets that do not pay, by saving your money in a savings account, by putting large sum of money in your home, whilst your money can be on the field working for you. In fact, you can even bury money by spending or squandering all your money today. We can relate that to the prodigal son. The prodigal son took all the riches, his portion of all the riches from his father and buried it. What do I mean? I mean, he took all the riches from his father, his portion from his father, and then went to squander it. He buried his money, he buried his future. You understand? So if you are spending tomorrow's money today, it means you are burying your money. Literally, you are burying your money. If you are spending on unnecessary stuff that do not bring you value tomorrow, it means you are burying your money. So if this lesson is teaching us not to bury our money, this lesson is teaching us not to do things with our money that does not bring us any value. So example, putting your money in a savings account. You know, savings account do not add any interest. And if you don't take time, inflation rate will beat your money. By the time you go for your money in the next 2 years, money has devalued. Money has devalued or has even decreased, has been affected by a haircut because of inflation and because of charges. Another way that you can hide money or bury money, another way people bury money is by putting it in their homes, keeping the money with them. Huge amount of money just sitting in their homes doing nothing. Huge amount of money sitting in their homes doing nothing. Meaning you have hidden the money, you have buried. Because that money, if you take that money tomorrow, it can buy what you could have bought today. So what do? You have to invest the money. You have to pick the money, go and work with it, like the 270 did. So borrowing money is a bad habit. It's a bad. And I said, literally, you might not be burying the money as in putting it in the ground, but you might be buying things that do not have future value, buying things that are not necessary, using money for things that do not add value to your life or to your future. In fact, spending your future money today, borrowing unnecessarily. Those are ways of borrowing money, and it's a very bad habit. And this lesson can be derived from the parable of the talents. Our fifth lesson is on investment, and it talks about diversifying your investment. Diversifying your investment, putting your eggs in different baskets, so that at least when one basket gets off or gets spoiled or falls down, at least you have other baskets. Don't put your money or don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't save or don't invest all your money in one investment account. It is important to diversify your it is important to diversify your investment. Whether it's a retirement account, education account for your child, or anything, it is important for you to put this in place and then invest in different investment vehicles or investment assets. In the modern investing, or in this modern world, investing would mean avoiding putting all your money in one basket, okay, or putting all your money in one investment account, one stock account, or something. It's easy to spread an investment account across thousands of companies. and it lessens the burden or the problem. It should, in case a company goes down, your money, you know that at least if this company, you have some money there, some money somewhere. So we take this lesson from the action of the master diversifying his investment before settling. Many could ask, or I was asking this question all over, that why did the master give the talent to his servant? I believe the master at least was having children, or I believe the master, if the master didn't want to multiply the money, the master could have put those money or the talent somewhere in the house, or hid the money in the house somewhere before setting off on this journey. But the master didn't do that. He gave it out to his servant. And when he was giving out to his servant too, he didn't give all the talent or all his money to one servant. He diversified it. He shared it among these or his servants based on their abilities. What lesson can we learn from this? We shouldn't put our money in just one investment asset. We shouldn't have our money in just one account. We shouldn't have our money in just one business. We should diversify our money. I believe very strongly that where the master went to, before returning on the journey, he made more profit. What he had, the talent he had, the monies he had with himself. You understand? So it means he has diversified his money very, very well. He was able to give some to his servants to take care of, and then some on him to take care of. Isn't this wonderful? So diversification is very, very important. Because if you're not going to keep your money in the house, you're not going to hide your money. And the only option is for you to invest your money, whether in assets or investment accounts. And by doing so, you need to know that you need not to have just one basket. You need not to put your money in just one basket. You need to diversify. You need to put it in different. You have to measure, know the ability of or the strength of where you are putting your money. The master knew the strength of each of the servants. So you have to know the strength of where you're putting your money. And then you have to expect, you have to know the expectations. You have to be clear with the expectations you expect from where you're putting your money. You have to be clear. The fifth lesson we are learning from this parable is about diversification. Diversify your investment. We take that from the action that the master took in the parable. I think we should read that again in verse 14. Again, it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted his wealth to them. And entrusted his wealth to them. Look at the verse 15. It says that to one he gave 5 bags, to another 2 bags, and another 1 bag, each according to their ability. And then he went on his journey. Isn't that interesting? The master could have just put the money somewhere in the house and left, right? In fact, he could have likewise put the money in an investment account or bank account, and left. But he gave it to the master, his servant, and he didn't tell them anything. So he expected them to work. He diversified his money to his servants based on strength. The lesson here is diversify your investment based on the strength of where you are putting those money. I think it's a very great lesson that will help us if we are able to adopt. And the last lesson we can deduce from this parable is being good stewards of money. Ask yourself, are you a good steward? For the past 3 months, or from the beginning of this year, how has your finances been? How have you managed money? Ask yourself. Is the response good? Do you have a good response? I ask you right now to bring or make a statement on all your incomes from January to now, then all your expenses from January till now, would it be something good to write home about? Would we see that all the things you spend your money on were assets, were things that would bring you value? Did you spend on things that brings you value? Are you a good steward of money? Do you manage money well? Do you see money as your own? Do you see yourself as the owner of the money you have? Or you see yourself as the manager? Do you see yourself as a steward of the money you have? How have you managed your money for the past 4 months or 5 months since the beginning of the year? That will tell us whether you are a steward. But I think from today, after listening to this video, you will be a good steward of your money. You will know how to handle money. You will know that the money you have is not for you. You are just a manager. Therefore, God or your master requires you to multiply your money, not just money, but anything that comes into your mind, your hand. Anything that comes into your hand. You should know how to multiply those things. You should know how to create value out of those things. And I think you'll be a very good steward. These are the 6 lessons that we can deduce from the parable of the steward, the parable of the talents. And the lessons in there are very, very, very powerful. And they have helped me as a person, especially the 6th lesson. The beginning of this year, I take record expenses and income every week. Sit down with pen and paper, and then I make sure I know the things that I've spent on, the money that have come to me. Make sure I make sure I am managing it well, not as the owner, but as a manager, as a steward of my own money. And I believe if we are able to take something from these lessons, it will really help us make good decisions as stewards, and then help turn our finances. I'll be bringing this section or this series to a close, and I will inspire and encourage us to be good stewards of money. Let us take the lessons in there in this parable and then use it in our day-to-day finances. And I know if we use them well, we use them very well, we will be good stewards, and then we will be able to account every time that we spend every day wisely. If you have any questions, kindly list your questions or put your questions in the comment box. I'm ready to attend to them and help you out. Then if you are facing challenges with your personal finance, feel free to come to my DM. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, on all social media handles, Sam Kobi Hagan, your personal finance. Thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful day.